Cassandra. Hello, Cassandra. You're welcome. Would like to introduce himself or herself.
Well, I can go first if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, my name is Jacob Hausa or Yakub. I'm originally African. I was born in Saudi Arabia, grew up here. I'm really interested in coaching. I'm a neuro language coach. Basically interested in languages and education. And it's my pleasure to be here. I've attended Nader's speech before, and it was really interesting, helpful, informative. So here I am again. Glad to be here with you. Excellent, yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Jacob, and yeah, you've been with us in many previous webinars, and you've really added a lot of value to this space and the interaction we had before. Thank you again for being here, and counting on you to keep coming and really exchanging with us, because that's the way we grow, through exchanges and sharing. So, and that's the aim of this space, for us to come together and just talk and ruminate around many things. And when you share your ideas, so you think about them, you give them a second thought, and that's an active way of learning. So, and that's why we're here. It's not just the aim of this series is not just to be a listener. So it's active listening is a great thing, but also to share your thoughts and ideas, and also we create this mutual learner space. So thank you, Jacob, for being here. So anyone else would like to introduce himself or herself?
Hello, everyone.
Camille, go ahead. Hello.
Yes, I'm French. I live in London. I'm a coach. I'm an expert in expatriation, and I'm very happy to join today because, yes, you always wonder if you gave the best to your coachee, and because we are we always want to be super performance, to be excellent in what we do, and sometimes you see the results just very long after. So I think it's a good question. So thank you for this webinar. I'm happy to join.
Thank you, Camille. So it's our pleasure to have you among us. Yeah, so it's really an interesting thing. So sometimes we ask ourselves whether we're doing it the right way or not, if there is any tweaks of we can improve our coaching style. So yeah, and it's really a great thing to talk about that, to share our own experience and get from the experience of others. So thank you very much for being with us. So would like to introduce himself or herself. Go ahead. So we're waiting for our guest speaker to be with us. So we're using this time to get to know more ourselves or each other. I'd like to step in and introduce himself or herself. So come on, guys, if you'd like to introduce yourself, go ahead. Otherwise, so we can start the discussion before our guest speaker comes. So and I think Camille started already.
Hi, you hear me?
Mohammed Amin, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here and very happy. Originally I'm from Tunisia, but I work in Saudi Arabia. I'm lecturer in computer science, but also I'm a musician, sound artist, and make some composition with the sound of nature and And it's a sound design, sound art, sound sonic art. I'm very happy to be there. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're our pleasure. Thank you for being here, Amin. So let's get started our discussion, if you don't mind. So the time we're waiting for our guests to be with us, so let's use this space to open up and share our thoughts. So let me start with what Camille said. Camille said, sometimes I'm wondering whether I'm doing it the right way. So Camille, so can you tell us more about that, if you don't mind?
Yes, because as a coach, you want to be efficient. And when you set up the goals at the beginning, you want to say goodbye and you want your coachee to be happy with what he achieved. And sometimes from the beginning, from the first meeting, they change a lot in what they want from the coaching sessions. And then you're like, but it's not the contract. Let's come back. You want to be super efficient. And sometimes, yes, sometimes you have some session, you feel you haven't given much.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder, yes, when do you think you achieved yourself as a coach?
So can I get your answer on that, Camille? So when do you know that it was top and when it wasn't that much impactful? So what do you use to conclude on your performance somehow?
I think I have the feeling I achieved something when my coachee come back the next session saying, look, I've changed this, I realized that he's been working or she's been working during the sessions. And then I have the feeling I achieve when I say goodbye and it's time to say goodbye. And the coachee has done things, has changed things, and he is or she is happy to say goodbye, because it means we have achieved something and she is or he is strong enough or conscious enough, whatever it is, to say goodbye and do his things by himself or by herself. And I'm glad, because it's about giving them autonomy. It's not having him for years and years in coaching. It's short and it's, yeah. So maybe, but then sometimes they come back and I'm happy because, you know, and I say, oh, we achieve a lot together, so I come back to you because I want to achieve more. And you're like, yes, maybe it's good, maybe, you know.
It works.
That's it. My little experience. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, great. So really, thank you for sharing, Camille. So we have our guest speaker with us today for now. So Nader, can you hear me?
Yes, I do. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, your voice is clear 100%. So
very good.
Thank you, dear Nader, for being with us today. I'd like to start by introducing you. Nader is an ICF PCC coach. He's the director of the ROI Institute MENA region. He's been working a lot on how to measure the measurable, how to know exactly whether you're using quantifying measurements. Really, it's not easy. So, as Camille said, to know whether you did it the right way. So you need something to convince yourself first, and to convince especially the sponsors that you're doing great, and it's really with a high what we call ROI, a return on investment. So it's something concrete. So it's not just about words. Coaching is about real change, and this is the proof that the change is here. So Nader has been working a lot on that all over the world, and he's with us today to share about his experience and how it can really be beneficial for us coaches to learn how to measure our efforts, the impact of our efforts, and how really it's impactful for our clients. So without further ado, Nader, the floor is yours. You're really we're so glad to have you among us. So the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Qais. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be with my coaching colleague, and I can see that we have here coaches from all over the world. So this is a great opportunity to talk about the measurement of success of coaching. In fact, you are doing a great job. And what we need is to show the value and to show the success of the coaching engagement, the coaching program that you are implementing, whether in your organization or to your client. So in this presentation, we'll be talking about first, why we need to measure the impact and to measure the ROI of coaching. The second point, we are going to go through easy steps, 12 easy steps that will help us to measure the success of our coaching program. We'll be discussing about how can we plan for the evaluation before the coaching, how can we collect the data during the coaching and after the coaching program, and also how can we analyze this data, how can we convert data to money, how can we isolate the effect of improvement, the outcome and the result of the coaching engagement will be, and the bottom line result of the organization. We talk about output increase, we talk about cost reduction, time saving, quality improvement, customer satisfaction, employees engagement. So all this, we need to isolate the effect of coaching program. And then we're discussing how can we calculate the return on investment, how can we identify the intangible benefit of the coaching program, and then we'll be discussing how can we present the data from the impact study of our coaching program, how this study or the measurement and evaluation will help us to get more funding, to develop, to grow your coaching business. So I'm going to start first with why now. And I just want you to type in chat, please, why you think it's very important for coaches to think about measurement and evaluation today. I can see the chat. All right. So why it's important for coaches to think about measuring the impact and the return on investment of coaching. Mohammed Amin said to better the experience, to improve the experience of the client. Okay, that's great. What else? Why for you as a professional coach or as a manager using coaching skills, it's important for you to measure the success of what you are doing? Jacob said to reach wider businesses and audience. Okay, awesome. That's great. Waji said, if it is not measured, it will not happen. Absolutely. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So we need measurement. Very good. Okay, Jacob said, numbers don't lie. Yes, absolutely. So it's an objective judgment. Camille said, to keep going as a coach, doing business, it's a job. No money, no coaching activity. Awesome. That's great. No money, no coaching. I like it. Bravo, Camelia. Awesome. So there are different reasons why it's very important to show the impact. Cassandra said the sponsor to qualify the value. Yes, that's correct. So the first reason is to stand out, to be different. According to the last coaching global study conducted by ICF 2020, it is estimated that the number of coaches, practitioners, more than 70,000 coaches all over the world. This is considered an increase comparing to 2015 by 33%. So the number of coaches is growing. One of the fastest growing jobs in the world is coaching. And the decision maker, also the sponsor, like what Cassandra said here, the sponsor, they want to see the value. we call that to have a proof, because for sponsor, for decision maker, for leaders of coaching program, we need to have a monetary value, monetary benefit of our coaching program. According to a study conducted by the ROI Institute, the two most desired measure by CEOs are the business impact and the ROI. 96% of CEOs would like to see the business impact of their coaching program and learning and development program in general. 74, they would like to see an ROI. However, what they are seeing is less than that. Only 8% are seeing a business impact, and only 4% are seeing an ROI. So we can here see the gap between what executives are expecting from our coaching program and what they are getting. So according to also the coaching and Middle East study conducted last year also by ICF, the practice of measurement and evaluation for coach, most of it, it's informal evaluation based on informal discussion with the client after the coaching engagement. Some of the coaches, they measure, they have an evaluation asking about the feedback of the client after the session or at the end of the coaching engagement. However, this data is important. It shows us how the client is satisfied, is the client is willing to recommend our coaching service to others, but it will not show us if the client is applying what they are supposed to apply, if they are implementing their action plan beyond the coaching engagement or not, and if there is any result impact, business impact of this application. So it's
just
very
a question,
yes.
Nate, please. Here I see in the chat, so Mary is saying something. So just to paraphrase what she's saying, so it's about getting a feedback on how we're coaching, about our coaching style, whether we're doing it the right way or not. So what do you do with that?
Okay, so
what do you think of that? So you said, so it's about the business impact and ROI. So, and how about the feedback we get about ourselves?
Yeah, so this feedback is important data we get, and it helps us to improve the experience delivered to our client. It shows us if the client is perceiving the coaching as important, if there is any value, new information, awareness about the situation, and the most important point is if they are perceiving that we are effective as a coach, and also if they are willing to recommend.
So can I use, so just to set the foundation for this session, so can I use what we'll be talking about today to know exactly where my strengths are, where I should dig deeper and improve? So can I use this as a feedback to improve my coaching style? Or is it just for businesses, for my clients, not just, it doesn't have to do with really the coaching process, just about the outcome of the process, not the process itself?
No, it also covers the process itself, because the feedback that we get from the client, it will help us to adjust the coaching process itself. So the data is not only about the outcome, it's about all the coaching process that will help us to make it better. So the ROI and the business impact measurement is not only about that's a step after completion of the coaching engagement. It comes even before we start the coaching engagement, when we plan for result, when we plan for measurement for success. So the whole process will be improvement of the coaching. All right, very good. So that was the point here is that, as I said, there is a gap, and this gap seems very important, especially those days with the impact of COVID-19 on coaching. So this impact has two effects. So the first thing, as we can see, there are a lot of more virtual coaching. So clients have access more to coaching service. So we can see that a lot of coachings, they are providing their service free of charge. They are trying to let's say, to provide their services. And so for client perspective, there are better access to coaching with a better price, and no need for in-person meeting or for travel or so on. So we can reduce the cost for the facilities and any other expense, logistic expenses. However, on the other side, we can see that organization, decision maker, they are cutting budget. And the first budget to get cut is the HR budget and the coaching budget. So we're going to stop all the, let's say, unnecessary expenses, because they consider that coaching, as well as any HR expenses, as a cost for CFO, for CEO, for business leader. If they are not seeing any impact, any ROI out of this coaching program, they are going to decide to stop it. They are going to decide to reduce it, or to eliminate it. So we need to show them that coaching is not a luxury. Coaching is a necessity for our organization. Mohammed Amin said, the coach is like a musician. He must measure the impact of his work in his audience. Music can reach more people, and the cost of the process is important for both. Yes, bravo, Mohammed. Absolutely, I agree with you. So the second reason is to have, as I said, to have a proof and to defend our coaching budget. The third reason is it's about the scrap learning. So what we mean by scrap learning here, the ATD, the Association of Talent Development, based on their research, the state of industry and learning and development in the world, in 2018 and 2019, the average expenditure per learning and development per person is $1,292. That was in 2018. In 2019, it was $1,299. That means in terms of hours is 34 hours per employees, including formal training, including coaching, including mentoring, including e-learning. So it's about 34 hours per year. A study conducted by CEB in 2014 shows that 45% of what employees are learning are not implementing it in their workplace. So that means 45 is wasted. If we multiply 45% by $1,292, so we have like $481. This is the waste per employees. So let's imagine we have an organization where we have hundreds of employees, or 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. So what is the waste in terms of money? So this waste, called scrap learning, this is the learning, let's say the new behavior that is learned by the client, but it didn't become as an habit, and it has no impact on the bottom line result of the organization. That's why we need to design our coaching program for impact, not only for learning or for application. It should be connected to the business impact of the organization. In terms of time, we multiply 34 hours by 54%, we have 15 hours also wasted because of no application. So that's a challenge for coaches. That's a challenge for learning and development professionals. So we need to bridge this gap. And we are going to see how can we bridge this gap by designing coaching program to deliver results. The next challenge is, or the next point in why it's very important, measurement and evaluation is considered to be an opportunity for coaches. This is the finding of the 2016 ICF Global Coaching Study. And as you can see, the two top future opportunity in coaching are related to increasing awareness of the benefit of coaching and also credible data, ROI and ROE, which represent 65% of your future of coaching. The latest global study by ICF in 2020 reveals the following also finding. So we have here the top 3 potential of building a strong coaching culture inside an organization. First thing is limited support from senior leaders. So this is very important. We need to engage the line manager, the senior leaders, So we get the buy-in of the coaching program. Second thing is the inability to measure the impact of coaching. And actually, ROI Institute and ICF, we are working on a global study about measurement and evaluation all over the world. So this is considered to be a priority at this moment. How can we measure the impact of coaching? The third trend is there is a lack of budget for coaching activity. So these are the three potential obstacles to build a strong coaching culture, and we need to take into consideration measurement and evaluation if we'd like to look for a future, to grow our coaching business, and to sustain our coaching business. Other study conducted by LinkedIn, the LinkedIn Workplace Report in 2020, shows that these are the three areas that we need to focus in learning and development, including the coaching. First thing is evaluating the impact of learning or of coaching, increasing the learning engagement, enabling self-directed learning with online learning solution. And the latest point, coaching, as I said, is not a luxury. Coaching is a necessity. So we need to win a seat at the table and to prove that coaching can work. Coaching has an impact, has an ROI in the organization. And this is what is very important for L&D manager, for HR manager, when they start a coaching project to get the buy-in from senior management. We need to link any program, coaching program, with the business result of the organization.
And that's exactly what Camille said on the chat, Nader. So coaching
Yes.
is not.
Very good. Very good. So there are two perceptions of the coaching. As I said, the first one is coaching is perceived as cost. If it's perceived as cost, the cost should be controlled, reduced, eliminated. And the second perception that it's an investment. That investment should be maintained, should be enhanced, should be protected. And our role here is to protect and to show that coaching is an investment in human capital. So those are the four, let's say, reason why we need to consider measurement and evaluation. First thing, standing out. There are a lot of coaching all over the world, so we need to be different, differentiate ourselves, to have a proof and to show that coaching has an impact, monetary impact. 3, measurement and evaluation is an opportunity according to the latest research by LinkedIn, by the ICF Global Study 2020, and also we sit at the table and shows that coaching can contribute to the bottom line result of the organization and to build influence about the coaching activity within the organization.
Can we pause for a while, Nader, and see if there are some questions?
Sure.
So the space is yours if you have any question regarding the first part. So go ahead. Any interaction, any comment, any question?
Don't be shy, please. Ask any question. You know, last week I was with coaches from Russia speaking Russian, from also Ukraine, and they were very shy. So it's not easy. But here, I think Excellencia team is an amazing team.
Yeah. So
amazing coaches.
So Nader is kindly inviting you to open up and ask your question. So let it be an interactive space. So,
if the coaches are shy, so I become shy, me too.
You know, we're human beings. We have our limited beliefs.
All right. No. Okay. So I'm sure that they are curious to see what's next. So
yeah, go ahead.
What's next? We are going to talk now about the steps for measuring the ROI of coaching. So how can we measure the ROI of coaching? Very good. So can any one of you tell me what is the first step? Type in chat, please. What could be the first step of measuring the return on investment of coaching or the success of coaching? You can type in chat. What could be the first step?
I'm reminded of the coaching process and the coaching models. So I think that the process will be something alike. What's the first thing we do, guys, in coaching? Define the ROI, said Cassandra.
Define the ROI. Okay. Maria, agree on the outcome. Very good. Bravo, bravo, Maria. So I like it. How much has been spent and invested? Jacob, this is a good step, but not now. In the beginning, I agree with what Maria said, is defining the outcome. So Muhammad said we should do measurement before beginning coaching to compare after. So a step before that, Muhammad, is what Maria said here. We talk about developing objective. So we need to develop, define the goal. As Srividya said, defining the goal of coaching, which is absolutely right. So how can we do that? First thing, we need to identify the payoff need. So what is the payoff need of the coaching program? That, in other words, why the coaching program at this time? The payoff need is about understanding the big why of the coaching. And in terms of, there are two bestseller books. First one starting with why, Simon Sinek. The second one is the 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. The second habit is begin with end in mind. So in coaching also, we need to begin with end in mind to know what are the measurements that we would like to improve. If the coaching is implemented to reduce the turnover of employees, if the coaching is implemented for better communication, for better engagement of the employees, for improvement of customer service, for let's say increase in sales or any different business measure in the organization. So we'd like to define these goal, and what Kamir said, write the contract with the goal of the coaching and define how many sessions, the price of each session, and how much. That's the contract, and the contract we need to identify these objectives that we are going to see now. So first thing is to understand the payoff need, the needs for the when we talk about here executive coaching for the organization that we need to coach. So in payoff need, we need to answer to see 3 options, let's say. The first thing is coaching is an opportunity. So sometimes we implement coaching because we would like to have a better place to work. We would like to increase customer satisfaction, or we would like to have, let's say, a future leader. So that's an opportunity for the organization. So it responds to an opportunity that we need to take advantage of. The second thing is coaching a response to a problem. We are facing, let's say, the overtime is increasing in the organization, or high turnover of employees, of talent. So we would like to implement a coaching program to reduce the turnover. So it's a response to problem, or it's a response to problem to avoid in future. There is new strategy, and we need to prepare the team, for the staff, for the new strategy. So we'd like to avoid future problem. So that's why we implement coaching. So the payoff need means that we need to understand why coaching at this moment, why coaching now. After that, we clarify the following: what is the business need? There are 2 types of business need: the hard data and the soft data. These business needs are available in any organization, private, public organization, or even non-profit. When we talk about hard data, we talk about the output increase, quality improvement, cost saving, and time saving. Think about any of your clients. You're going to see that there is a connection between coaching and one of these type of data. An output increase, it could be the increase of sales, or for example, the increase of university, how many person has been graduated, or for example, in a hospital, healthcare organization, how many person has been recovered. So for each organization, for each department, there are some measurement for the output. So we would like to identify these measurement. Then it could be quality improvement. We would like to improve our quality in the organization. Third one is to save costs or to reduce costs. Fourth one is to save time. So any organization would like to improve their quality, to save cost, and to save time. These are the hard data. There are also some soft data which are available also in many organizations. We talk about the customer satisfaction, employees engagement, creativity, innovation, work habit, trust, I'd say commitment, happiness, all this considered as intangible, and they are very important. The well-being also is considered to be soft data. The networking, the conflict, the conflict. So we'd like to reduce the number of conflict. Also is considered as soft data. So any of our coaching program, there could be a link to one or many of these measurements. So that's we call the business need. After identifying the business need, so is there any question about the business need?
I start first, so I go first. So the idea is when you're dealing with a business, so the first thing to ask about is the current situation, your outcomes, how well you're doing here and there. So in terms of numbers, that's the
Yes.
first step, right?
Yes.
So and then so when you go over these numbers, so you set goals. So you'll discuss with them the possibility of increasing this by 30% or by 10% whatsoever. So it's about moving from this situation, the current situation, to the future one in terms of numbers, right?
Yes. Yes.
And the question is, what if the business is lacking some solid and quantifiable measures? So how to deal with that situation?
So yeah, that's a good question. What if the business there is no some KPI you said or some measurement?
Yeah. So it's really an old-fashioned way of leading. Just using their gut feeling. It's the boss leadership style. He's there to lead in his own way, which is really traditional. His people. So there is no really solid things you can use to set really quantifiable. What if you find yourself? I know it's not really the case of the majority of businesses, but what if you find yourself in that situation, especially if you are working with SMEs?
Yes, that's a good question. All right. So in many cases, I mean, any organization, you can find some data like for example, the sales, the profit, the cost. If you think about any organization, they'd like to save, to reduce the cost or to save money. So, I mean, this type of information is available in the client. I'm talking about the cost of their cost, operational cost, and also for example, the cycle of the service or the process that we'd like to save time. So these information are available in any organization, as I said, even in not-profit organizations, small SMEs or big organizations. So the basic information are available. So any organization can know, for example, what is our profit, what is our number, sales
What if
or volume
what,
of
what,
operation.
what if I'm called to work on employee satisfaction?
Yes.
And yeah, so it's something which is not measurable. So and we have no statistics about that. So how to deal with that situation to really quantify the thing and make it measurable?
Very good. That's good. So we are working, for example, with the coaching program to improve the let's say the satisfaction of the employees, and here when we talk about the satisfaction of the employees, so what are the consequences of the let's take it this way: if the employees are satisfied, what's going to happen?
Yeah, so in the long run, it will be sales increase and
Better communication.
yeah,
Yes,
maybe. Yeah.
better result. So that's why when we measure the ROI, we're gonna see if there is any impact of this coaching that aim to increase the satisfaction of or the engagement of the employees. So it's about measuring the impact of this program. So if really has an impact on the sales, on the costs, on the time, and also on the quality. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But so I don't want it to be just between you and me. So for our dear audience, so go ahead. If you have ideas, questions crossing your mind. So go ahead.
All right.
So be really interactive. But for me, I think, and we had this experience. So we found ourselves working with businesses where we lacked some kind of information. So the first thing we did is we started by measuring. So we measure, we have our own data, and we build on that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So that's the second step, which is finding the measurement and clarifying what we would like to measure. For example, let's say we would like to reduce the number of absenteeism in our organization or turnover. So it's good to know what is the actual percentage of the absenteeism, or what is the actual percentage of turnover. Okay, or what is the, for example, we'd like to improve the customer satisfaction. So what are the measurements for customer satisfaction? Is there any measurement like an index in the organization? So once we identify this measurement, we identify the level of this measurement, then we can set an objective, increase the customer satisfaction index by 5 points, by 10 points. So that's where we can, set the business impact measures. All right. So after identifying the business need, the next step now is to identify what we call the performance need and also the learning need. So the performance need is what behavior need to be changed. So the client will apply what they should apply, and then there will be a business impact. So it's performance here. It's more about the behavior of the change in behavior. And then we have the learning need. So what awareness, what knowledge should the client get so that he or she can change their performance? And then the preference need is about how many coaching session. For example, if there are the duration of the coaching engagement, like Camille said here, how many sessions and all information related to let's say the implementation of the coaching program. After that, the next step is to set the objective. So there are 5 category of objective. The first one we call the reaction objective. That means at the end of the coaching engagement or coaching session, the client satisfaction will be, for example, 8 out of 10 minimum. That's an objective. Other objective is that the client will perceive the coaching program as important, or will perceive it as relevant, or will recommend this program to others. So this is about the feedback, and this feedback should be translated to smart objectives. So by having smart objective and clear measurement of the feedback data, so then we can measure the success in terms of reaction. That's the first level of evaluation. We call this the first level, which is reaction.
So just off the cuff, so is it possible to ask everyone here, so how many of you are using some kind of feedback? How many of you ask for feedback, measurable feedback while coaching or once you coach? So do you use this kind of measurable maybe a scale to ask your client on your coaching on how impactful the coaching session was? Do you do this or not?
Yes, I do it from my end.
So
yeah, what is your good name?
I'm Dua.
Dua. Duha. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So Duha, you have this reaction objective, and what you have to measure exactly, Duha?
Mainly 3 different topics. The first one, the environment in general about the coaching sessions, especially that I am running this remotely. So it means I'm trying to check the reaction of the participants, how they are feeling, if there is any specific things not working well when it's come of internet, for example, or conditions, etc. The second point related to their expectations. when it's come of the different questioning, the coach in itself, skills and general questioning or specific questions if there is. And the third thing, in general, if there is any area of improvement or thoughts or comments they want to come up to improve for the upcoming sessions.
Bravo, bravo, excellent, Taha, excellent, Taha. So that's we call the future improvement, or what the client, I mean, would like to, let's say, suggest also for the coach. So it's important to have this measurement for us as a coach, because it will help us to make sure that the client has a positive reaction out of the coaching program. So Camille said, no, I should definitely think more in terms of ROI and reaction objective, room for improvement. Yes, 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 absolutely. So that's the first level. We call this level in green here, we call the first level of evaluation. If you do that, it means you are measuring the first level. So the second one is a learning objective. Anyone is measuring any learning objective, like formal test or informal test, sorry, or questionnaire for the client to have self-assessment about their learning? Anyone is using any learning assessment? Yep. Yes, you do that, Taha? Okay. Yep. So
a different format, I would say.
Yeah. Good, 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 good.
Can you explain it more, please, Nader? So the learning objectives.
Yeah, the learning objective simply is that we need to set a clear learning objective, and what the client should know, or what skills should acquire, or what attitude she or he should has in order to improve their performance. It's about what is the learning that can get out of the coaching engagement. So I'd like to know more about what, if any other one is measuring the learning. Any other coach measuring the learning of your coaching program?
Hey, yeah, Nader.
Yeah, Jacob. Yes. So how you do that?
Yes, I do, because I work basically with languages. So with the client, we have our own test to measure the client's level before, and all along the way, the journey of coaching, we stop on certain periods of times, and then we start with the feedback, we start with the reaction of the performance and the learning objectives, the one we have already set, and then we have the scales. That's number 1, 2. So the learner would choose if they decide if they have learned their objectives, and then they would choose a scale, and then they will have as well to describe the journey. So that will give us another sense of just to in a way to support the scale they've chosen. So the journey was informative, was helpful, it was not a little bit difficult, I don't feel I was comfortable, and so on.
Yeah. That's good. Excellent, Jacob. Excellent. The third level of objective we call the application objective. And this type of objective, so we need to identify what the client should apply. So here it's about the implementation and the use of the skills she or he has learned from the coaching engagement. So any one of you is measure the application or ask the line manager of the client, let's say 3 months after the coaching, or just making follow-up to make sure that the client has, is implementing or is applying what she or he is supposed to apply. Any one of you is measuring the application?
Honestly, just starting working on it, and I am running a pilot. So I'm waiting the end of December, because I need a quarter to start working on this, but in the plan. Yep.
Excellent. Awesome. Taha. All right. So we'll be seeing some example of all this objective just in a few minutes. And then the next objective we call the impact objective. And here we need to set clear objective, like we'd like to decrease the, let's say, the turnover by 5%. We'd like to improve the customer satisfaction by 5%. We'd like to reduce the number of, let's say, meeting, I mean, by, let's say, 3 hours per week, for example, or number of invited, let's say, person in a meeting by, let's say, 2 person instead. For example, if we have a meeting where we have 10 participants, so we're having like 8. So this type of measurement that we need to have clear, identified clearly in the impact level. So that's the consequence of the application. The last one, which is the ROI objective, that's the ultimate level of evaluation. So this is when we compare the cost of the coaching program with the benefit of the coaching program. So we compare the monetary benefit with the cost. So these are the 5 different type of objective that we need to set in order to go for level 5 evaluation and to measure the business impact and the ROI of coaching. The next step.
Just a question, Nader. So
Yeah.
maybe some of us are now wondering whether it applies for just for businesses or also for one-on-one coaching with just individuals. So can we use this approach with individuals?
We can use this approach for individual. Yes, we can use it, and we are going to see tools for that. It's called the action plan. So it's the same tool we use in coaching, but there is I mean, special action plan that we can use in order to help us, even for one-on-one.
So we'll see it in this webinar. So we'll see
Yes.
how we do it. So Camille,
Yes.
are you ready? So here we will be answering your question in the beginning of our webinar. So how to know exactly whether we're doing well or not. Go ahead.
Think about even life coaching. If you see the sequence, it's not only an executive. For example, life coaching, when you have the client first will have a reaction out of the coaching program, and then the client will look for information. They will have more learning, more knowledge, and then the client start to apply. Okay, whether, for example, I would like to reduce weight or whatever, what I'd like to change. So I'm going to apply, that's the application part, and then the impact is the result. So if I lost weight or not, if I'm feeling better, if I'm less stress, better sleep, I don't know, fitness.
It's aligned with the coaching process because
Yeah.
we start the coaching process by a goal, and then we end with the learning. So that's the reaction. So how was it, and what did you learn within the coaching session? And it's the learning, and how can I follow with you on the way you implement the thing? So it's application. So I can see really coaching woven into this approach.
Yes. And then what we do here is just we measure. So we measure the reaction here, we measure the learning, we measure the application, we measure the impact, and we measure the ROI. It's simply so once we have objective for reaction, then we can measure it. Objective for learning, we can measure it. Application, impact, and ROI. We are going to discuss the measurement tools that we can use also for each of these levels. All right, so let's do an exercise. I know that you love exercise, so I'm just going to ask you a few questions here. Just let me. All right. So there are here 10 objectives. And what I want you to do for the first objective, just tell me which level of evaluation is the first objective. Let me remind you about the level of evaluation. So when I say reaction, that's level 1. Okay, here. Reaction, that's level 1. Learning, level 2. Application, level 3. Impact, level 4. And ROI is level 5. Let's see our 10 objective here. I just want you to type in chat. So what is the level of evaluation of these objectives? If it's reaction, please type 1. If it is learning, type 2. If it's application, type 3. It's impact, type 4. It's an ROI, type 5.
Those with chains are hearts in vain with never we kiss under your spell.
There's music here.
No one could deny.
Sorry, I just removed the guest. Sorry. I know. All right. So, all right. Jacob said 1. Okay. No, I can't see the correct answer. No. Not 5, not 1, not 3. When we talk about complaint, is it an application? Is it a reaction? Is it a learning? Or is it an impact?
It's a result.
It's the result. And result which level? 4. Yes, Toha. Yes, Sonia. Bravo. Yes, Eva. It's 4. Very good. So let's see the second one. That's 4. All right. So use disciplinary discussion skills in 90% of discussion where work habits are unsatisfactory. Camelia.
The slides, Nader, please.
Yeah, that's the same slide. You can see it?
No, we can see it.
Can you see it?
No. So
We are seeing it. Maybe it's internet connection from your end.
Oh, so it's
that's one. We see the heart here, heart stamp.
Yeah. Now I can see.
All right. So let me just clarify for Camelia. So when we say level 1, it's reaction. Level 1 is reaction. Level 2 is learning. Level 3 is application. And level 4 is impact. Level 5 is ROI. So I just put in chat right now. Okay, so what we have here, we have Eva said 2, Cassandra said 2, and Srividya said 2, Sonia said 2. I'm not happy. It's using. When I say use, is it learning or is it application? Yeah, Jacob. Absolutely. It's 3. Awesome. All right. So let me just. Yeah, here we go. I just want to remove this stamp. Yeah, good. So it's level 3. Oh, yes, Sonia. Yes, it's correct. It's level 3. All right. So let's go for number 3. Be able to describe the 4 steps of the coaching process.
Describe.
2. It's 2, but it seems that I have type 4. I don't know why.
Yeah, Jacob. It's absolutely. It's 2. It's 2. Like Toha said, it's 2. All right. So let's see the question. The objective number 5. Number 5. Yes. 4. Sorry. Rate the coach 4 out of 5. Rating the coach. Toha said 1.
Yeah.
Any other one? All right. Yes, Rivdia. Yes, it's 1. Perfect. Let's see the other objective. Achieve a 20% ROI 1 year after coaching program implementation. Absolutely, it's 5. Yes. Bravo. All right. The next one. Perceive the coaching content to be relevant to the job. Perceive the coaching. Perceiving.
Yeah.
Perceiving the coaching to be relevant. Relevance, like importance. At the end of the coaching, you will perceive the coaching to be relevant. You perceive the coaching to be important. Yes, Sonia. Yes, Camelia. Yes, it's correct. It's judgment. 1. Yeah, that's the reaction. Number 7, increase the sales or increase the, let's say, yes, sales by 25%. Increase the employees' engagement by 2% or increase the, I mean, any, yeah. It's result. Awesome. It's 4. Very good. Number 8, conduct a proper investigation using the 7 steps process in 95% of complaint situation.
conduct, an action verb.
Yes, Srividya, it's 3. It's application. Awesome. Number 9, score an average of 75% or better on knowledge assessment. You have knowledge assessment, you have test. Yes, Toha said 2, Sonia said 2, absolutely, it's correct, it's 2. And then number 10, use the 10 negotiation skills with at least 50% of negotiation situation. Using
It's application.
Yes, it's application. Awesome, awesome, great, 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 great. So that's the objective of the coaching program. That was step number 1. And step number 2. So guess what is the step number 2? What could be the step number 2 after first thing we set the objective, right? We develop the objective. What could be the next step? Now we have the objective, we have a clear objective. What is the next step? We know where we are going. We know how we are going, for example, to measure first level. So what is the next step? Implementing the coaching, understanding the current situation. I like this, Srividya.
How to make it.
Understanding the current situation. I like it. So
The grow model. The grow model. Go reality.
Yeah. How to make it. All right. Yes, very good. So we call the next step is plan the evaluation. So we need to plan for the evaluation, to develop our plan. That's before even the implementation. So like Srividya said, understanding the current state or having a clear action plan in order to achieve our objective. Jacob said also action. So that's the same philosophy. So we need to know, to have detailed plan in order to achieve these objectives. And for that, we have 2, let's say, planning document. The first one is called the data collection plan, and the second one is called the ROI analysis plan. So let me clarify the first document. In the first document, the data collection plan, this is where we know what we are going to measure for each level of evaluation. For example, for reaction, we are going to measure the relevance or importance, or is the client willing to recommend the coaching program to other? So that's the first step. For learning, we are going to measure some specific, let's say, learning part or skills acquisition part. For application, what the client is going to apply, and for the business impact, what could be the result, or what is the result of this application, whether in terms of, let's say, cost saving, time reduction, time saving, quality improvement, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, output increase, and so on. So we need to identify for each level different measurement, and then we ask the following question: how do you collect the data? How do you ask? How we are going to collect the data for reaction? How we're going to collect the data for learning, for application, and for impact? The next one is the data source. Data source, who we are going to ask. For example, for reaction, for the reaction. So what do you think, I mean, who we are going to ask in order to know the reaction data? Are we going to ask the client themselves, the manager of the client, the direct report of the client, or the coach? Who's going to give us information about the reaction? Jacob said the manager. Let's see the answer. For reaction. I will ask this question different way. At the end of this webinar, Excellencia will send you an evaluation form, and you'll be answering this evaluation form, or your manager will be answering this evaluation form, or your direct report, or your colleague, or I will be answering on behalf of you. What do you think? Not all of us. I will not answer. It's you. We, yes, the participant, the client is going to answer the reaction because that's the experience of the client. Very good. That's good. Now, let me ask you the following question. For learning, who is going to provide us information about learning? For example, out of this, let's say, webinar, when you learned something, who is going to give, let's say, credible results? Is it yourself? Is it the coach? Is it your manager? Or direct report? Or your friend? The client? Yes. And who else? So sometimes based on the interaction, based on the question that I ask, I can assess learning, right? So here the coach, when you work especially one-on-one, so you can have some assessment as a coach. Yes. So it could be the client, and sometimes it could be also the in some case it could be the coach themselves, that they can assess the learning of the client based on the questions and discussion that happened during the coaching engagement. But 80% or 90% of the situation, it's from the client themselves. The third level, which is the application. So who could give us information if you applied what you are supposed to apply? The manager. Yes, the manager. That's good. Who else? Who could also give us some information? Who else? The client. Yes, absolutely. Also, it could be the direct report of the client, especially when you coach leader, the direct report of this leader. Sometimes the peer of the client, but 360. But mainly, it's whether the client or the manager of the client, or sometimes the direct report. See, these are the third. In some cases, it could be the client, the real client, the customer. Especially here when we coach frontline employees. So we get the input from the end client. So it could help us also to get some information. But mainly it's about your client, the coachee, the manager of the coachee, or the direct report of the coachee. Now for the business impact, who we are going to ask for the business impact result? Now I would like to see if there is a result. The client, the sponsor, yes, absolutely. Or the performance record of the organization, absolutely. That's the company, the information we had from the organization, or also from the client themselves. The clients themselves, they could provide us, or the managers of the client. So all the same, let's say, stakeholder could provide us with information. Now about the timing. So when we measure the reaction, what do you think? When we can measure the reaction? Every coaching session, yes, or at the end of the coaching engagement. Very good. So learning is also same at the end of coaching session, immediately, yes. However, the application, when we can know if the client is applying, is it immediately or is it after a certain period of time, after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on the topic? Yeah, that's good. But usually it takes 3 months. Yes, it could be 3 months, it could be 2 months, it could be 1 month. Absolutely. And also that's the same for the business impact. So as you can see here, the reaction and the reaction and the learning, the timing is at the end of the coaching session or coaching engagement. However, this 2 level comes after a certain period of time. And then the last column here is about the responsibility. So who is responsible to collect the reaction data, the learning data, the application, and the impact data? So this document is called the data collection plan. It's an amazing document that will help us, and we can have an understanding about what we are going to measure, how we are going to measure it, who we are going to ask, when we are going to measure, and who does the asking. The second planning document is called the ROI analysis plan. In this document, so it's mainly about a level 4 evaluation. So that's the business impact, and it's level 4. Since we be having a lot of measurement, so maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 1 measure, so we put here the different measure. For example, this one could be a better customer satisfaction. Here, reducing, let's say, reducing cost. Here, improving, let's say, the quality. And here, having better sales or margin, increasing our margin. So different measurement. And for each of these measurement, what we need to do, we need to identify the method of isolation for each one of them, the method for converting data to money for each of these measurements. Some of the measurement will be converted to money. Some of the measurement will not be converted to money. And we are going to see why we are not going to not to convert some measurement to money. So because the credibility and the cost of conversion, because sometimes the cost of conversion, it's expensive. So we need to bring one of the major consultancy organization to do that. Some organization like the Dubai Railway Transport Authority, they have converted the happiness to money in Dubai. So they worked with the big consultancy company to do that. And they found some correlation between the happiness of the tourist and the visitor of Dubai with the expenditure they have in shopping. So if they are happy, they will spend more in shopping. And they found this correlation. So by improving the happiness of the tourist and the visitor of Dubai with the transport system in the Dubai, so it will help to generate more money for the government, more taxes paid by the stores and the businesses, and that's big consultancy, I mean, work. But in some organizations they do that. They convert it to money. Other organization in Sweden, they have converted the value of networking. So some organizations, they do this work. Some other, since it's expensive, so we keep it as intangible data. So not everything we are going to convert it to money. Some of the measurement, like the faith, it's hard to convert it to monetary value. Employees engagement. The employees engagement has an effect on the organization, but itself, the employees engagement, we can convert it by finding some correlation between the scale of employees engagement index and also the net profit. There are a lot of researches conducted by Harvard Business Review or by many other universities, but it's applied in different cultures. So you cannot use in the same, let's say, or scope or same organization. So that's why we keep it as intangible. Then we have here the cost. We put all the cost of our coaching program, the intangible benefit, the communication target to whom we are going to present our data, and then the other influence, and the last thing is the comment. So these are the two planning documents that will help us in order to, let's say, to plan for the data collection and data analysis. Any question? No question? All right, good. So what you think is, I forget the third step. Can you remind me, please?
The how.
The how. Yeah, okay, very good. So it's something like the how, but it's, let me see other answer. It's not the answer that I'm looking for. So just because I gave the answer in the planning document, I said the first thing is the data collection plan. The second thing is the ROI analysis plan. So what could be the first thing to do? Is it data collection or analysis?
Data collection.
Yes, great. So that's the data collection. It's called the data collection during the solution implementation. So that's the data collection of reaction and also of learning. So let me remind you about the different level of evaluation here. So as you can see, the first level is the reaction. The second one is learning, application, business impact, and ROI. But you can see here there is a level 0. Level 0. So what is the level 0?
Kind of need analysis and collection of input and a couple of things that you can start working with.
Yeah, that's the level 0. This is the type of, let's say, information that we usually report: number of session, duration of session, the cost of the coaching, and the period, the total duration of the program, number of clients or coachee. So all this information are related to the activity involved in the coaching program. As I said, the volume, number of the coachee, number of client, time, the cost. So all this information that we need also to report to the organization when we have at the end of the year presentation to the business decision maker. We need to tell them how many, let's say, hour of coaching, how many person has been coached, what is the cost of the coaching, and so on. So that's level 0 data. And then we have level 1 reaction and level 2, which is the learning. So let's see together the different measurement in reaction and learning. So for reaction, we have here the relevance, the importance, the value added, effectiveness of the coach, and recommending to other. So make sure, if you'd like to measure reaction, that you cover these 5 items, because many research in coaching and learning and development in general, they found high correlation between these 5 items and the application of what the client has learned from the coaching or the learning project. So for those of you who are measuring the reaction, make sure that you measure these 5 items. For those of you who are not measuring the reaction, consider these 5 items when you measure the reaction, the feedback of your client. The learning part, so it's more about skills, knowledge, attitude, competency, and capacity. How we do that? Through different tools. For reaction, we use the questionnaire, survey, observation, interviews, focus group. And for the learning, we can use the same tools plus the test and quiz, plus demonstration, plus simulation. We can use also virtual reality, augmented reality, different type of simulation that will help us to measure the learning. So there are different set for reaction and for learning. Is there any question about this step?
Nader, if you allow me, so we exceeded a little bit the allotted time. So if we focus mainly on the most important things, and then we keep the questions for the last part.
All right, good. So meanwhile, if there's any question, you can type it in chat. The next step is collecting the data after the coaching program, and here we measure the application, and also we measure the impact. When we say application, extent of use, task completion, frequency of use, action completed, the barriers and enablers. And for the impact, we talk about the 4 hard data: output, quality, cost, time, and the common soft data, which is the customer satisfaction. How we measure that? We have also a variety of tools. For application, we can use a questionnaire, observation, interview, focus group, action plan, performance contract. For the business impact, or for the level 4, we can use a questionnaire, we can use action planning, performance contract, and performance record. So these are different tools that we can use for each level. The next step, which is isolating the effect of coaching. This is very important, because once we find the data that there is an improvement now, so how can we isolate the effect of our coaching program? There are different, let's say, technique for isolation. Isolation is very important, because if there is any improvement as a result of the organization, there are many factors, and coaching is one of these factors. So we need to know what is the contribution of our coaching program to the bottom line result of the organization. So we have 8 main tools for isolation. The first one is called the control group. The control group is used scientific research that when we have a group who go through coaching program, we compare it to other group who didn't go to coaching program, and we see the results. And we are using this technique, for example, now with the COVID-19 vaccine to test it. So we have a group that went through the vaccine, real vaccine with other group, and we see the results. So this is the most accurate and the most scientifically used technique for isolation. The second,
comparing between 2 departments, for example, one was coach and the other not. So we see the difference between both.
yeah, but here we need to take some factor into consideration using the Pareto rule 2018. So what are the common factor between the 2 groups? You see, for example, in COVID-19, there should be some common factors in terms of age, in terms of medical history, in terms of location, and so on, to isolate the effect of other variable. So in our case, 2 department, we need to know, for example, that if we take 5 employees here, we compare to the other 5, there should be similarity in terms of gender, in terms of experience, in terms of even the, let's say, the performance evaluation, all these items. So that's for the control group. The second technique is a trend line analysis. This is when we take the data, the previous data, and we see the trend, we compare it to the actual results. The third technique is the forecasting. We used also for isolation. Number 4 is the estimation. Number 5 is the customer input. And number 6 is the expert estimation and previous study. And then we have the manager supervisor estimation, or we can also calculate and estimating the impact of other factors. So these are the different techniques that we can use for isolation. The most common techniques, there are 3: control group, trend line analysis, and estimation, whether estimation from participant, from client, from coachee, or estimation from supervisors, managers, or direct report. So for the isolation control group, you can see here 2 groups. One of them went through the coaching program, which is the experimental group. We can compare the cells before and after. For both groups, they have the same results. For the group who went through the coaching program, they have 45 comparing to the other group. The question for you, you can type it in chat. What is the impact of coaching program in this case?
The 5,000.
Awesome, that's 5,000, bravo. The second technique, which is the trend line analysis. We have a program here to reduce the fraud incident rate. And this program was implemented in the month of July. So we take 6 months before the program, and we can do some analysis. We can see that there is a trend decreasing. The average 6 months before the coaching program was 18.5%. And when we do projection, it is estimated to have like 14.5. That's the projected average. Then the actual data shows that the result is 7% 6 months after the coaching program. So the question here, how much of the reduction fraud incident rate is due to the coaching program? Can you tell us what is the contribution of coaching here? Is it 14.5%?
So coaching stabilized the sales, right?
Yeah, I mean here, that's the results of the, this is a fraud rate. So we reduced the fraud rate and the average is 7%. And it was projected to have an average 14.5 without the coaching.
So we stabilized the trend. So it was declining, and then thanks to coaching, so it was stabilized.
Yeah, so the coaches lost. Where are your coaches? 21%? No, it's not 21%. So let me just explain this. So the trend was decreasing. The number of fraud was decreasing. So even if we don't implement the coaching, 6 months after, it will be 14.5 5%, even if there is no coaching. That's what's the projected rate is, 14.5%. And now we have implemented the coaching, and we see the actual result. The actual result shows that the fraud is 7%.
So the difference,
the difference, it's 14.5 minus 7%.
Now
It's
7.5.
Yeah, you're making it tough. You're speaking math. So
yeah.
So maybe it was a little bit confusing because for my end, for example, I was thinking about starting with the 18.5 to make the monies of the 7 and not from the 14.5.
Yeah, that's the projected.
Yeah.
You know? And you can see the it's used, this technique is used to, you know, when you have this COVID-19 analysis and the you know, the impact and the growing number of COVID-19 and the impact that each country is doing in order to reduce that impact. So they are using the projected rate with the actual rate and doing this comparison. That's called the trend line analysis. The third technique is the estimation. And the estimation, it's a very simple technique. It's the formula. We take the factor that influenced the improvement, multiply that by percentage of improvement, multiply by the confidence expressed. We have the adjusted percentage of improvement. Let's see an example. We have a total
I'll
cost.
give you 3 minutes before wrapping up.
Okay, so 3 minutes. In order, I will skip this part because it takes more than 3 minutes to explain. But I will go to the next step, which is the converting data to money here. Yes, that's the next step after the isolation. And there are different tools for converting data to money, like using standard value, record report analysis, database, and expert estimation. So these are different techniques that we can use for converting data to money. Tabulating the cost that comes after the having the monetary benefit is understanding the cost. And there are two types of costs of coaching: the direct cost, which is coaching fees, program material, facility, travel, if any, and also the indirect cost, needs assessment, coaching, program development, participant time, administrative overhead, and evaluation. So once we have the cost, the next step is to calculate the ROI. And the formula is very simple. The benefit of the program minus the cost divided by the cost multiplied by 100. If we have a program that is costing $60,000 and the benefit is $100,000, the ROI is 100 minus 60 divided by 60 multiplied by 100% equals 65%. That means for each dollar we invest in coaching, the dollar is returned and 67 cents is generated. That's the how can we interpret the ROI percentage. So the last step after that is identifying the intangible. So as we said, we have the tangible measurement converted to money, and we have the intangible, because the value is not only monetary value. If there is increase, let's say, improvement in reputation, if there is a better communication, so we'd like to identify and to measure that. So once we have the monetary benefit and the intangible, just we need to tell the story and communicating the great story of your coaching program to the different stakeholders. This is a very important step, because if this step is not done properly, all the steps that you have conducted could be wasted. So we need to make sure that we make it properly. First thing, by understanding the primary audience. We are going to communicate the result to the sponsor, decision maker of coaching, to the direct manager, supervisors of the client, to the client themselves, the participant, and to the staff team working with you in this project. How can we do that? Whether through face-to-face meeting or virtual meeting, or complete study, impact study, executive summary to senior executive, and also one-page infographic summary. So that's the how can we communicate the results. And as we said, the purpose of this storytelling and communicating the result is to get more funding. So we need to tell the result in order to get more funding, more support, more buy-in for your coaching program. So here are the 10 steps. The first one is setting the objective, then developing the plan, evaluation plans, and baseline data. Current, like in coaching, we have the current status, and then we have the data collection during the coaching and after the coaching, and then we have the isolation, converting data to money, tabulating the cost, calculating the ROI, identifying the intangible, and then generating the report. So these are the 10 easy steps for coaching and measuring the success of coaching.
Okay, great job. Great
You're
job. Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome.
So last part of the webinar. So I invite all the audience, all the participants to really interact and share their thoughts, their comments, feedback on the insights they've got. So any questions? So go ahead. So now the floor is yours. Eva is saying thank you very much. Happy holidays.
I start. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Nader and Case, and all the participants. I do. Sorry, I wouldn't have time to ask you about the business alignment model that you mentioned. I think in a different occasions. But if I may ask a question, please. So let's say that you've had your report now ready after setting the objectives, the plan, and the data and everything, and you've got the return of investment on investment, and it shows that yes, there is a good potential for improvement. And however, let's say the seniors of this particular organizations are not, they might see your report as taking a risk, and they're not really big on they're not really risk takers. So how do you deal with that?
Okay, so you mean that once you complete your report and then you present it to the sponsor. So can you explain, Jacob, what happens? I mean, you don't get the buy-in, or?
Yeah, so the report, the numbers say on your report that yes, there is a promising return on investment. However, as you know, it's an investment, so the let's say the stakeholders or the senior managers, they still not really sure if they should take that risk. They might be happy with where they are at the moment.
All right, very good. So that's a good point. First thing is, you are talking here about the forecast of the ROI. So that's different concept. Forecasting the ROI before initiating the, let's say, the implementing the coaching program, we'd like to have a forecast to present it to the senior management to get the buy-in. So that's a different thing. I haven't presented in this session, but I can share with you more information about it. So that's a different concept. Here, what I'm talking about is once you completed your coaching program and you have this collected the data, you analyze the data, and then you show the result of your coaching program, that after the implementation. However, you might ask me the following question is, what if I have a bad result? There is no positive ROI, there is a negative ROI. So what I should do? And in our certification program with ROI, we have different techniques we show about how we communicate negative results. But I'll give you just a straightforward answer. I mean, if you have a negative results, you can know that from the beginning of the process. You can know it from the reaction of your client. You can know it from the learning. There is no learning. You can know it from the application. They are not applying what they are supposed to apply. There is no, let's say, support from the managers to the implementation. If you remember the beginning of the session, I said, based on the ICF Global Coaching Study 2020, the main obstacle for coaching, growing the coaching, is the support for line managers. So that's challenging. So we'd like to know if they are supporting or not, because if they are not supporting, more likely we are not going to have a positive ROI. So the ROI is not only the effort of the coach, it's the effort of all the organization with the coach, because the line manager has a great impact on the results. So that's the point. That's why in the evaluation planning, the two documents that I showed, this is where we need to present them to the different stakeholders at the beginning to get the buy-in, to get the support for data collection and data analysis. This is the best practice for building effective coaching culture within the organization, is to get that commitment, that buy-in in the beginning. So to answer the question about the bad news, communicating the bad news, we can know that early in the process, by whether in reaction, in learning, in application, or also the impact. And there are some tips and technique in order to manage the expectation of the stakeholder. So remember, the objective is to make the coaching better, to improve the process of coaching.
And
it's not,
maybe
yeah.
Maybe Nader, if it's not working really, so there is something wrong. So we need to lead a study around that.
Yes.
So it opens a window for us to explore what's going on. Maybe it's something deeper, so we don't know. So maybe it's really an opportunity for the business to know what's going on. So we did the coaching, we did it the right way, but there is something really blocking us our way. So, and so in coaching, we're not responsible for results.
Yes.
So we do our job. So, and the performance of the coaching itself, it depends on the clients, and maybe they need to revise many things. So we need to push the process further to explore what's going on behind. So to dig deeper into that, and maybe it's really a great opportunity for the business to revise many things, her strategy, mission, values, to have a more communicative space to know more about themselves. But still, really bouncing back on Jacob's question. So he's saying, how do I convince businesses with this? So the process is really beautiful, many articulated steps. I can see the value if we do it this way, so the business will be convinced. But how do I convince them with this?
Very good, very good. So let me just straightforward asking your question: how can we converse them, and how can I get that support? By simply this two planning document. So the data collection plan, the ROI analysis plan, this is where we present to the management how we are going to help them achieve the organizational goal. So by showing them how can we going to help them, we are going to get the support. Because the challenge in measurement and evaluation is we can't access to the data. Sometimes it's considered to be confidential, even within the same organization, with the same department. So by having the support from business leader and senior managers about the impact of coaching, the result of coaching, then we can, get the buy-in of the senior management about this project, because we are helping them to achieve the results. So here, coaching initiative will drive the business.
So just before giving you the mic, Mohammed, the floor. So Nader, here we're talking about trust, and trust. I think the best way for you to win that trust is about proofs and past experiences. So if you say, I did it before and this was the outcome, this was really the ROI, so they'll be really convinced. Or if you it's just your first time doing this, so you can rely on other people's experiences. Say according to the ICF statistics studies, so the ROI of coaching is this and that. So you can use your own experiences or those really credible in the business to really be more convincing. Mohammed, go ahead if you have any question.
Thank you very much. Very interesting, very, very, very interesting. My question is, if we have, with your experience, Mr. Nader, if we face in front of us different clients, different fields. For example, if we are in front of politics, or in front of sport field, or in front of showbiz, musician company, Hans Zimmer company, anything like that, or if you have student, is this process change or we maintain the same strategy, same process? Because musician company is very different. They are happy and nervous. You have the two. With your experience in front of different fields, that not the same. Scientists, artists, dreamers, depressed.
Okay.
Voilà.
So yes. So the process is the same. Let me answer it straightforward. So it's the same process, because if you think about different, let's say, industry, even for the not-profit, because there is a lot of implementation of the ROI methodology in the healthcare or the not-profit or the well-being. So let's think this way, Mohammed Amin. For any industry or any organization, there are some business impact measures. This is the ultimate goal, what they want to do, what are their reason, the purpose of this organization. And to clarify the purpose, there are some measurement of success of the organization. So we need to understand these business measurement. That's the first step. The second step is understanding what the staff, the employees should be doing in order to improve these measurement. So here it's about the performance need. And then the learning need, what they should do, they should learn in order to improve their performance. So by having this business alignment model that I showed here, that's business alignment, the V model. This is the V model. As you can see, it's aligning the needs of the organization from this part to the objective of the coaching to the measurement of success of coaching. So by having this alignment, it will help us to measure the success of any type of coaching, any type of learning and development intervention, any type of intangible project, program, or initiative.
Merci. Okay. Thank you very much.
Great. Nader, so I don't know, is there any other question? Go ahead. If not, I have just a small question. We can wrap up the webinar with it. So maybe it's really complicated, convoluted for some of us. So what's the best way to make it easier for us? If we can sum up all these things in 1, 2, 3 points. So what would it be for us to use it in a simple way? Then if we apply ourselves on that, we can move to a more complicated thing.
Okay, it's simple and straightforward. Believe me, it's very easy. I have an article in ICF, and this article has been translated to many languages, to Korean, to Chinese, to Russian. So it's called the 10 easy steps.
Here's the link, Nader, please.
Yes, I'll do it. So it's called 10 easy steps. I insist on the word easy steps because these steps are easy. It's easy. Any coach can do that. I mean, we can set objectives. We can know the baseline data, the current situation. We can collect the data by having the proper tools, instrument during the coaching and after the coaching. And then by simply using one of the techniques that we explained for isolation, converting data to money, calculating the cost, the total cost. It's easy to do that in coaching, calculating the ROI, identifying the intangible, and then showing the results. So they are very easy steps. The critical point here, in order to have a credible study, is to isolate the effect of coaching and also to convert data to money. And there are also 10 standards in the ROI we call guiding principles that, for example, for the benefit, we need to calculate the benefit only for 1 year, because we know if there is the benefit could last for many years, for lifetime for the clients. But in the ROI, we are very conservative that we calculate this benefit for 1 year. If in our program we have coached, let's say 10 executives, and 3 months or 6 months after the coaching, we have the result of 5 executives only. 5, the other, maybe they're resigned, maybe they didn't complete the results. So in the ROI methodology, one of the principles, we don't assume that if we don't have data, we don't have fact, we don't assume that any improvement happened for those who didn't provide us with data. So the standards are very, let's say, conservative, and it will help us to, let's say, to have credible data. As Qais said, trust is very important. And the ROI Institute guiding principle credibility is essential, because if we are not credible in providing this data, we are going to lose our reputation and the trust of the client. So it's very important to be conservative and to be credible. And isolation will help us to be credible, because coaching is part of the solution for the organization. It's not everything. So we need to isolate and to convert data to money.
Wow, great. So powerful webinar today. It was really dense, many powerful ideas. Thank you for that, Nader.
You're welcome.
Said, it's easy, you can do it, and I hope it's that easy for all of us. So
so we are planning Qais for a workshop with Excellencia about the ROI methodology in 2021. That's good news. We are planning for it. Plus, I have a gift for all of you. This is an article about the ROI of coaching. This is a case study, and this case study is published by the ROI Institute. You can download it, and it shows you a real case. And in ROI Institute, we have a lot of case study, and there are a lot of books, hundreds of, case study all over the world about the implementation of the coaching methodology in many organizations, and it's not theory. It's based on the practice. It's based on the results. We have even a book called Measuring Success of Coaching that help coaching professional to develop their coaching practice. And this book was written by the founder of ROI Institute, and also by one of the coaches who used to work with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and also in Microsoft. This was a coach with Bill Gates. So it's all about practice and case study. So by this case study, you get full understanding about the methodology, and also you can access to the ROI Institute Academy. It's free of charge. There are a lot of resources, a free ebook, free case study. These tools that I presented, the data collection, the ROI analysis plan, they are available also in this portal. So in order to, let's say, to have more knowledge about the methodology. And you can also contact me, contact Qais, so for more information about the ROI application of the ROI of coaching. So my email, Nader at ROI Institute, and also I'm in LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Not TikTok yet. Qais, he insists that I have a TikTok, but not at this moment, maybe 2021.
Okay, great. So thank you, Nader, with this wonderful smile and positive note.
You're welcome.
We wrap up our today's webinar. Thank you all. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart, all the participants. So thank you for being here. Thank you for making it happening and for your interactions. It was really insightful. See you in the upcoming webinars, and Merry Christmas to all of you, and see you maybe next year.
Inshallah. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Great job.
Thanks, Qais. Thanks for this opportunity. Thank you, Duha, for your great participation. It was amazing. Jacob, Georgios,
Eva, Mohammed,
yes,
thank you all. So thank you.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.